Hello, YouTube. Once in a while, I make videos about very unusual weapons created during the Soviet times. This is a subject that's interesting to me, and I'm sure some of my listeners. So today I want to tell you about a very unusual gun, handgun created in the USSR. You see, Soviet engineers, they created not only small arms, which were then successfully used in the military and law enforcement agencies, but also many original and sometimes even fantastic inventions for their time. One of these examples is the VAG 73 handgun. The surprising thing is that this product was not developed by some design bureaus or research institutes, but by one person, a self-taught engineer who unfortunately for him, and maybe for his country, did not have a specialized education. The name of the firearm itself is an abbreviation of the first letters of the name, patronymic and surname of the Soviet engineer Vladimir Alexeyevich Gerasimenko. And the number 73 is the year the handgun was created. However, this is the second model, because in 1972, Gerasimenko invented the even earlier modification, which differed in the magazine. Since the time of the World War II, the self-taught man worked at the Arsenal factory, and I remember it quite well. I was a kid going all over my city where I was born and lived, Kiev, Soviet Ukraine, and I remember that factory or works Arsenal quite well. Anyway, that's where the nation's space and aviation optical systems were developed. The development of small arms was a peculiar hobby of Gerasimenko, which he became interested in 1940s. By the way, this brings up memories. When I went to the Soviet high school in Kiev, kids told me, those whose parents worked in the shipbuilding industry, I knew that they created so-called underground weapons, firearms, which were later sold to those who needed them, and it was a very dangerous undertaking. But I've seen some of those self-made guns, once or twice, not often. Anyway, the history of the creation of the VAG 73 could not proceed without the control of the state security agencies, meaning KGB. Gerasimenko's projects were not in vain. During his lifetime, he made more than 20 inventions, receiving 7 author's certificates. Most often, Gerasimenko's name is remembered precisely when they talk about the VAG 73. The self-taught engineer was able to do what no one else in the USSR had been able to do before. He presented a workable automatic handgun with caseless cartridges. The main feature of the VAG was the cartridge used. It used the caseless principle and represented an absolutely new concept. It was a bullet made of steel, at the base of which there was a recess for gunpowder. It was closed with a copper lid at the bottom of the cartridge, in which there was a hole closed with a burning capsule. The copper protruding side of the rear cover cut into the rifling of the barrel like artillery shells. What are the advantages of such a cartridge? First, reducing the weight of the projectile by almost half. In addition, caseless ammunition increases the rate of fire of the handgun due to the absence of delays associated with the deformation of the sleeve. It was possible to fire from the VAG 73 with both single shots, typical for pistols and bursts. A unique feature was the presence of a pneumatic shutter retarder, which reduced recoil and increased accuracy. It is also curious that the shooter could fire a shot from the VAG 73 both with pre-cocking and self-cocking. When firing self-cocking, the trigger is pulled immediately without cocking the trigger. This allows you to increase the rate of fire and the frequency of firing. Nowadays, most pistols or handguns with a self-cocking firing function. That's what they have. But for the early 1970s, Gerasimenko's development was groundbreaking. The giant magazine is another fantastic feature. Another feature of this fantastic handgun was the double-row tandem magazine with 24 rounds each. This was the main difference between the VAG 72 and VAG 73. Thus, there were 48 rounds in the VAG 73 magazine. When the cartridge ran out in the front magazine, ammunition began to flow into the receiver from the rear. For comparison, one of the main and most common pistols of the Soviet era, the Makarov pistol, or Makarov pistolet, Pistolet Makarova, PM in short, which had been in operation since 1951, was armed with an A-round magazine. Even after the modernization in 1994, the PM could accommodate no more than 12 rounds. Modern examples did not come close to the VAG 73 in terms of magazine capacity either. Thus, Yarigin's handgun, adopted in 2003, has a magazine of 18 rounds. The handheld monster VAG 73 possessed truly monstrous dimensions and mass, 235 millimeters in length and 135 in height, with a weight of 1.2 kilograms. It was longer even than the Strechkin's not-so-small pistol, and the Makarov pistol was 161 millimeters long and 126 millimeters high, and its maximum weight, if there were cartridges in the magazine, was 810 grams. Thus, the PM, even with full ammunition, weighed a third less than the VAG 73. The significant disadvantages of the development, in addition to size and weight, which, for example, made the hand holding the gun get tired much faster, was the cost of the caseless ammunition. It turned out that their production cost many times more expensive than the conventional cartridges, and it has not even been established yet. In addition, it turned out that due to the complexity of the design, the VAG 73 quickly got dirty and was not, because of that, not very reliable. So the self-taught inventor Vladimir Gerasimenko died in 1987. Unfortunately, the pistol he developed did not interest the military and never entered the mass production either during the inventor's lifetime or after. It was in the late 1980s, the engineer's designs, including the VAG 73, were transferred by the Kiev KGB to the Artillery Museum in Leningrad. There were no accompanying documents for the exhibits. They are in the collections of this museum to this day. However, this weapon was not the only one where the concept of artillery solutions in small arms was applied. The famous An-94 Abakan, although it doesn't use Gerasimenko's developments, but there is also an artillery note in this idea. The receiver of the machine gun acts as a cartridge for a movable barrel. So that's what I wanted to let you know today. And again, I appreciate very unusual weapon designs, and this was one of them. And in the future, I'll tell you more stories about quite unusual weapons developed during the Soviet times. I appreciate your attention to my work. If you can support my research, there are links in the description to this video. Please like my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.